Good evening and welcome to our first webinar dedicated to Business Network for Logistics. SAP Business Network for Logistics is a collaboration platform to connect siloed processes, build efficient partnership, and new business relationship by embracing interoperability with other networks and enhancing visibility in the supply chain. Today, our expert will give you a closer look at some of the business network processes and show a live system demo. Please welcome Anastasia Biryukova, lead SAP functional transportation management consultant at LeverX Group. With several full-cycle TM implementation projects behind her belt, Anastasia has a deep understanding of SAP transportation management business processes and document flow. Anastasia is a pioneer of business network of logistics solution at LeverX Group. Nikolai Grulenia, head of SAP Transportation Management Practice at LeverX Group Poland. Nikolai has over 13 years of practical SAP experience with focus on SAP logistics solutions like transportation management and global track and trace. And I, your moderator today, Dmitry Antonovich, Solutions Director Digital Supply Chain at LeverX US. My goal is to make sure our clients get solutions their business needs. Before I pass this deck to my colleagues, let me do a quick introduction of LeverX Group, who we are and how long we've been on the market. LeverX been on the market since 2003 and grown into the global company with offices in 10 countries around the world. LeverX Group unites two teams, LeverX and Emerline. Our primary mission is to deliver full-cycle technology consulting, development, and implementation services to businesses to their successful business transformation. LeverX's deep expertise is based on successful cooperation with SAP as a preferred vendor since 2004. We are SAP Gold Partner and a strategic supplier. What we do is proved by various ISO certificates. So today, we'd like to start our webinar with some industry challenges that help Business Network for Logistics helps to address. With that, I pass it to Nikolai.
Thank you very much, Dmitry, for this introduction. And I also would like to welcome the audience of this webinar. Happy to see all of you here. So today, we will be speaking, as Dmitry announced, about relatively new software from SAP Logistics Business Network. And we'll talk about some industry challenges and transformations that made SAP go to market with this kind of software. And the main part of the webinar will be the live demo of this product. So before even switching to these supply chain industry challenges, let's pay attention to some figures from the research from big consulting companies that basically are the main drivers for these challenges. I mean, the figures. So they tell that the world economy model becomes less and less company specific and more network centric, with supply chain being an industry impacted by this transformation probably more than any other industry in the world. According to McKinsey analytics from August 2020, in 5 years, the integrated network economy could represent $60 trillion in global revenue, which is 30% in total economy share. Today, this share is only 1 to 2%. According to Gartner research included in their Supply Chain Operation Visibility Vendor Guide from November 2019, by the year 2024, which is already in 1 year, we can say. More than 75% of top 50 global companies will have implemented supply chain business networks in support of the end-to-end visibility. Of course, we may not fully rely on these figures. They are just the forecasts in the end, but the tendency, I would say, it's quite conclusive. Next slide, please, Dmitry. Yes, thank you. So we can contingently split the supply chain parties into the categories of logistics service providers and logistics service consumers. To the first category, we can relate shippers, producers, customers, and also freight forwarders. Freight forwarders can be related to both categories. The challenges that nowadays market sets in front of these companies are complexity and costs increase, unpredictable market volatility, a lot of manual processes, lack of supply chain visibility, ineffective risk mitigation strategies, lack of data insights to have better decision making, and lack of critical operational analytics. If we switch to suppliers challenges, then the market challenges here are increasing demand for precision of the delivery and sustainability, inconsistent freight volumes, lack of visibility, lack of collaboration with their counterparts, a lot of manual processes, also complex communication loops, and volatile fuel prices, which makes it harder to establish long-term and sustainable pricing strategies. Let's go to the next slide, and this all results apparently into the challenges in front of the logistics software providers like SAP. Even if we take the majority of our customers as an example, the companies are using a large number of different services to interact with their supply chain counterparts, or alternatively, they need to develop and maintain their own portals for the same purposes. Searching for new logistics partners and establishing information exchange with each of them becomes more and more complex. The businesses usually experience difficulties in tracking their orders and deliveries. There are also large delays in receiving the information about the status of the shipments. As a result, it makes it tricky to collect statistical data and generate analytics, for example, on tenders for the purchasing of the transportation services, transportation execution, and the quality of how your suppliers work. And the software integration efforts and costs significantly increase also, but still, in many cases, unfortunately, it results in hardly maintainable disconnected systems and landscapes. So, having seen that, SAP came up with a clear vision to address all these challenges, transform today's fragmented supply chain parts into resilient, agile, and collaborative network. And of course, put it in the cloud, like SAP does with a lot of products right now. So the product to satisfy this vision is SAP Business Network for Logistics. And this diagram that you can see right now, you see the overview of all products from SAP Digital Supply Chain family. Here I have to tell that, I want to tell rather, that here at LeverX we possess the extensive and sometimes even unique expertise for all the products that are listed here, not only the left cloud part. We have very long and fruitful collaboration with SAP over the last more than 10 years, together with standard development, innovation, business solutions, and local country market units. We have completed a lot of successful projects in these areas. I will just say a few words about every component, and we'll proceed to the demo. So freight collaboration option is no, Dmitry, please keep the diagram. I will describe first every bubble or rectangle that we have here. So freight collaboration option on the left side in the cloud is the heart of the business network for logistics. It improves supply chain efficiency by connecting business partners on a collaborative network that supports joint management of the transactions and exchange of the document. To some extent, you can compare this product to a social network. For instance, upon invitation from a shipper, a carrier can onboard itself to this network and collaborate with the shippers on freight tendering, subcontracting, freight settlement, milestone reporting, or dock appointment scheduling. SAP Global Track and Trace, a small cloud on the left-hand side, enables a precise and real-time tracking and visibility of your orders and related shipment fulfillment milestones. You can consider this product as a successor of SAP Event Management, for those who are familiar with SAP Event Management. SAP TM, the green rectangle in the very center, is a central system for all major transportation processes within a company, like order management, transportation planning and execution, transportation optimization, and freight settlement. SAP EWM, or Extended Warehouse Management, is a solution that optimizes the storage and warehouse operations. SAP Yard Logistics, it's designed to simplify all yard operations, be it the operations with truck, ocean containers, or rail car units. SAP Direct Distribution is a solution enabling end-to-end direct store delivery order-to-cash process, like milk runs or last-mile distribution. And TRP, Transportation Resource Planning, it's the software to balance your resources, like containers or trailers, optimize the costs for the repositioning of these resources, or support triangulation decisions. So that's, in a nutshell, the entire family of SAP digital supply chain products. Yes, let's go to the next slide. Here on this slide, there is an overview of what we'll be showing on the demo. It will be a basic end-to-end scenario for logistic business network use case that includes the step of subcontracting or contracting, execution, and freight settlement. Let's go to the next slide. Here on the tendering, we will show the shipper issuing a request for quotation to several carriers, and carriers reacting to this request for quotation, and shipper awarding the best carrier with a freight order, with an order. Then we'll go to subcontracting and transportation execution. The subcontracting step. In the subcontracting step, we will observe how the shipper sends the freight order to the awarded carrier, and how the awarded carrier accepts this job from the shipper. And on execution side, we will see the general setup for the execution process, and how it is managed, how the carrier books the dock appointments, and also how the events are reported in the freight collaboration option and also in GTT option. So we will show the several systems as sources for the events. Yes, basically this also relates to this slide, how the events will be reported, and we will also explain how this events posting can be automated with help of the telematics software and so on, that is nicely integrated into, for example, GTT. And the final step will be settlement. Yes, here where we will show how the shipper sends the order, sends the carrier invoice to the carrier, and the carrier accepts this with a dispute management or without it. Basically, the settlement process and then invoicing. So the final step of the demo. Having said that, yes, I would like to hand over to Anastasia, and we can start with the demo, right? Or
yeah, thank you, Nikolai. Just one point here before Anastasia joined us with the demo. I know there was a lot of information from Nikolai, and we're also going to see the live demo in the system right away. If you have any questions, you're welcome to use your phones, scan those QR code on the screen, and send those questions to our experts. We'll receive those, we'll process them, and we'll provide you feedback after our webinar. Thank you. With that said, I will let this QR code stay here for another couple seconds, and I will pass it to Anastasia.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Dmitry, could you please notch? Okay, thank you. All right, so let us start with the live demo. As Nikolai already mentioned, today we would see the demo of transportation management processes. Then we would switch to logistics business network in order to see how the system looks like for carriers, and then as part as logistics business network for carriers, we can also see logistics business network for shippers, and then we will switch to GTT global track and trace interface. So let us start with the transportation management, and as predecessor steps, we would create purchase orders. So this is transportation requirements. There are a lot of methods how to create transportation requirements, like using purchase order or sales order functionalities, or just creation of forwarding orders directly in transportation management system. And today we will see the creation of purchase order. I would set the basic information, supplier, organizational data, and what is necessary to transport. I would set the material, quantity of the material, and delivery date. Let's schedule it on the 5th of December. And also I specify the plant. Then after saving the purchase document, so this is the transportation requirement, I can see on the document flow of this purchase order. Freight units. Freight units are like transportation management documents containing all the requirements which were sent from purchasing order, and it contains the direction of the transportation, material information, and all necessary information what is collected, and then using this information, carrier would receive as a shipment. Then, based on this purchasing document, I would create the inbound delivery. Delivery date would be the same, the 5th of December. And for this purchasing order, I would confirm delivery quantity. So it's possible also to change it, increase or decrease, but we would send the same. And after that, so this is like the preparation of the transportation requirements. I would send and see the created transportation requirements in the transportation management system. This is transportation cockpit where shipper could see all the requirements. Is collected in the freight unit area. All these freight units, this is the simplified units of the transportation, which had the information about the road, like the direction of the transportation of goods. On the general data, for example, we can see the direction, like we need to transport it from the source to the destination location. We can see the information about our goods. And this is basically our requirement. And we would plan it in order to have the shipment document. So here in the transportation cockpit, we can see the list of requirements as well as the list of the available tracks, what we could use for the transportation. There are a lot of parameters what could impact the transportation result, not only availability of the trucks, but also scheduling and the availability of all the components that are inputting into optimizer. And as a result, when I select my transportation requirement and plan it with all resources, I can see my shipment document, like the freight order, in which containing the full information, like which truck would transport this freight order and what is necessary to transport. Just a second. I would probably, select the different one, which was just created. So the number of this freight order 925, and here on the general data tab, we can see like the same information from the freight unit, but also we have the truck with capacity, the same direction of the transportation, and information about the goods. And there are like two options how to transport this freight order. The first one is using the own carriers. In this case, I would simply call carrier selection, which would select the best carrier for this transportation, or just simply set it manually in the freight order. Or there is also the subcontracting process when I send this transportation to the tendering in order to find the external carrier. And here we could show you the second option, the second process. I would show how a carrier could see their workplace, logistics business network, there are a lot of titles with which carrier would work. The first one, during the subcontracting process, during the tendering, he's using freight order management. Here, carrier could find freight request for quotation, which were sent from the shipper, from the freight orders. And then carrier has the possibility to send the response, the answer on this freight request for quotations. And I would send from this freight order. I would select the carrier ranking or the list of the carriers who could take a part in this tendering. So I will call it, and just a second. And what I can see here is the first tendering for this freight order, and we have the list of the carriers to whom we would see these RFQs were sent. We have also the price limit, which is calculated based on the freight order details. And after saving, these requests for quotation were sent to the carriers, Merline and Galaxy. And here we have both logistics business network for the carrier, the first and the second carrier, and they both can see this request for quotation. There are the details about the freight orders, cargo details, and tour, and also like contact information. And there are different possibilities how to respond on these RFQs. So it's possible to accept this price limit, which we can find here for this transportation, or propose the new price, or simply reject it. So I would accept this RFQ, and here shipper can find as a result quotation from the first carrier. And I will send like the same from the second carrier, but I would accept it with the changes. For example, I would decrease the price of this transportation or in order to win it. And here we have the updates. Shipper can simply find that the new price was sent and what is the updated price. And also I would, as a carrier, I can also find all my quotations. Here were just the responses on the open freight orders during the tendering, and I still have a time to change my mind and just send a new answer. For example, I reject this freight order, and here there is the rejection reason, and for example, because of the price, I would reject this tendering, and shipper can simply find this update from the last carrier, the rejection, and during this period of the tendering, all the carriers can change the mind and send a new price in order to win, or just reject the tendering. And yeah, here we have the updates, the prices which were sent from the carriers, and all the answers. And yeah, let's probably send a new, just accept again and refresh. And here we can see that the first carrier sent different answers, but as a result, when this time would be already over, we can see that the winner would be with the best price based on the last quotation of each of the carriers, which are in the tendering now. As for the result of the tendering, we can see that it was performed automatically. And this carrier sent the best price, the lowest price. That's why he is the winner and assigned to this freight order as executor. After that, carrier who won this freight order or shipment can find it in the freight order for confirmation title, and he's able to confirm execution of this freight order or reject. Here we also have all the details about the transportation, submitted price, and also there is a possibility to attach something for drivers, for example, and set the driver's information and the truck's information. Here I would fill it in and also set the truck information and send it as a confirmation to shipper back. Each time after sending the replies of the carriers, we can see that shipper can see the actual information about the freight order. So on the general tab, after refresh, we can see that registration country and registration number of truck were filled in, as well as driver information. And now this freight order is ready for execution. But also we would show you one additional step, which is available from the Logistics Business Network for carrier. This is document appointment scheduling. Here we can find our freight order information and available time spots which we can choose. For example, I can just simply select it and maintain appointment. And here I can see that there are a lot of time slots which are available based on the scheduling of this spot. For example, here we can see that working hours include the time starting 8 a.m. and until 6 p.m. And also, so this is all this data is customized. It's possible to set up it. And we can also see that some of these time slots are not available for now because it's already busy. So I can set, for example, that I'm able to be on this first spot for loading between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. And then on the 2nd of December, and then I would maintain. This answer was sent to shipper, and in the freight order we can see it on the stages tab that the information was updated, and this appointment start and end date and type were specified. After that, after the updates of the stages information, shipper can initiate the start of the transportation execution. Here, it's necessary to set ready for transportation execution and save it. And after that, carrier can find this freight order as freight order for execution and ready for reporting. I would just search it. Okay, here we are. So we can see the status, reporting status of this freight order, and the information about the planning events, what is necessary to be executed from the carrier side. There are also the type of reporting, the type of events. And here So all these expected events is also customized. But from this perspective, we would show you two options of reporting the events. From the logistics business network side, here we can see this reporting, the expected events, the stops, and also driver and truck information. And we would find the same data, but in the different way from GTT, from Global Track and Trace interface for the same carrier. So we can find for this freight order, would log in. Now we can see that the interface is a little bit different based on the updated content. And here we have the fulfillment tracking and the tile check shipments, where we can find our freight order. We specify this number, we already find it. So this is our carrier and shipment, which is not started yet. And basic information of this shipment for execution. Okay, so loading, I would refresh again. Okay, here we are. Here we have this basic information, the planned events base status, which will be updated during the transportation. Also freight units, which were assigned, and the same data we can find from the shipper interface. And also all the events which should be executed during the transportation, like proof of delivery, loading and unloading, departure and arriving, and also map, which contains this shipment information. And let us start execute this shipment from Global Track and Trace platform for carrier. Start with the loading start event. So to do this, you can just set and press the report button, and then we have two options: report planned event or unplanned event. Planned event contains the information about the event, which we have already seen there, planned date and time and planned list of the events. And also we can report unplanned, for example, delay or some kind of unexpected situation during the shipment, like return or something like that. And we would start with the planned event. Here we have this first event loading start. And let's report it a little bit earlier than it was planned. For example, on the 1st of December. Here we have a lot of fields which are not mandatory, but also it's possible to set it in order to send more detailed information to shipper during the transportation and during the execution. I would report this event. So event was reported, and I can refresh Global Track and Trace functionality and find that this event was reported earlier. And here we can see this indicate on the application. And then we can report the next event, like loading end, and set also the 2nd of December and send it. But we can see now that all the reports were executed from Global Track and Trace. The status was updated in execution, and we can see the number of reported events. For shipper, we can find the updated information in the freight order directly on the execution tab, we can see that both of these events were reported. We can see also the actual date and time. And now I will show you the functionality from Logistics Business Network for the same freight order. But another event, for example, I would report proof of delivery, pickup. Here we can also specify the final time, but I would set it a little bit later. For example, the 4th or even 5th of December. And here, for proof of pickup, it's necessary to set the attachment, the document which would be sent to the transportation management system, to shipper, and then I report this event. Proof of delivery. We have the status document sent, which was updated. And shipper actually can track this update of all these events, not only in transportation management system, the execution tab, proof of pickup and attachment, which was sent, but also in the logistics business network for shipper. Like we can see here. Track freight movement. And here I would set all the statuses. And find my freight order, which is in execution. And we have already this process status that it's already late because of the last event, which was sent later than expected. And here we have all the information regarding the transportation and also the execution flow, which contained information about the stops and executed events there. And then I would also report the next, like the final time departure, 5th, 6th, okay, report. And it's also possible to set the reason of the delay, but it's not mandatory. You can see traffic, for example, and report. Here we can see this delay information, the final time, and the planned time. So it's like the gap about it. And in freight order, shipper can find later on the updated information about the reported event and also the logistics business network for shipper. Let's update it. The freight order still sending. Okay, we're going to check it a little bit later. After the reporting of the transportation, it's possible to create the invoice for this transportation for a carrier. So carrier can find it on the freight settlement section. We have titles for invoice freight documents. Here we can find for our freight order the invoice based on the final price during the tendering. So we have here $10,000. And carrier can create this invoice for this transportation and adjust it if it's necessary. So I would set the number and click the charges, so we can see that it was adjusted, and I can add, for example, additional price for the second driver, for example, and add it. Here we have the specified charge types in the backhand system, and I would set, for example, additional driver and the price. So it was the unexpected price. And this update would be sent to the shipper for a confirmation. Here we can see for the shipper, we can find manage dispute title, and it's pending, and shipper can, just a second. Okay, accept and submit or reject. And from the shipper side, I would accept it. And yeah, this is the additional price. The final price was updated, and submit the document. And all the updates we can find in the freight order, like the charges tab. We have seen recently that it was calculated to 10,000 based on the tendering, and now it's updated based on dispute, which was opened by carrier and added to the charge line as additional price. And after that step, it's also possible to create the freight settlement document for this shipment and post it directly. So there are like the final steps of the transportation. And this freight settlement document will be also created based on the updated price, based on the final invoice with the carrier. We can see here the updated price and then post. And on the document flow, there are like all the documents which were during the process. A carrier invoice, also the freight settlement document, which was sent directly to ECC based on the purchase order and inbound delivery, which were created. And as a final step, carrier also can find this invoice as completely invoiced document here. As for logistics business network for carrier, shipper, and global track and trace functionality, that's manually it. Let's switch to the questions.
Thank you, Anastasia. I hope our audience was able to see the system in action, see the flexibility of the business network, and the main purpose of it serve as a network between carriers, shippers, ability to share documents, report events, and use it for their business needs. Again, thank you, Anastasia, very much for your detailed demo. And right now, we have time for our questions. You can use Q&A session in our webinar, or you can post them in chat and we'll pick them up. Our expert will reply to those questions if there are any. Alexei, do you see any questions in our chat?
Right now, no. I guess everything's clear.
All right, I think you still have QR code on the screen right now. You can use it for your future references.
Dimitri, we have a question.
Right. The questions from our attendees are there any standard interfaces on LBN cloud side for receiving events and reporting it automatically? Nikolai, maybe you can pick it up.
Yes, the answer is yes, but not on the LBN freight collaboration, but on GTT side. So GTT, I mean, SAP provides out of the box the integration with, I think, for the moment, 3 telematics software, Shipio, Project 44, and I don't remember the third one.
Uber
Which one?
Uber Freight.
Uber Freight. I think it's the fourth one then,
Okay.
which works out of the box basically. So if the software installed, for example, in the cockpit of your truck or somewhere on the container or on the trailer, it will update automatically the current location of the resource. It will be replicated also to the shipment that is being tracked, for example, freight order. And GTT is very flexible in terms of setting up the rules, how you can react to these events. For example, using the geofencing functionality, you can recognize that your location geocoordinates event was posted close enough, for example, less than 1 kilometer enough to your loading point. And you can set up a rule in GTT that will automatically post arrival event to this point. Same with departure, for example, that if the truck has left the circle around your loading point, and the distance from the loading point to the current location post event is more than certain customized distance, the departure event will be posted automatically. So basically, from the scenario that we have seen right now, everything except, I think, proof of pickup or proof of delivery can be automated this way. Proof of pickup or proof of delivery should be by the semantics, even manual actions, because you need to attach some documents there, and it's kind of the confirmation that something has happened. So the answer is yes.
Thank you, Nikolai. I think we have a continuation of this question. Is events are posted from LBN to TM system, but would it be without any GTT licensing? So generally speaking, I think as Anastasia mentioned and Nikolai mentioned also on his presentation, there are 2 options to report events. One, carrier can report the event directly from their carrier profile in Business Network for Logistics, and you can use GTT. So while GTT is licensed separately, you need to have a separate subscription for GTT. You can still use standard events from carrier and report arrival, departure, delays, and those will be reflected in your TM system. Anastasia, Nikolai, anything you would like to add to this?
Yes, it's correct. So the answer is that GTT license is not necessary, is not needed. Just DTT usually has much more events to report. I'm not sure in LBN freight collaboration the list can be limited to only major, most important events.
Thank you. Great questions. Anything else? All right. With that said, I would like to thank you, our presenters, Nikolai and Anastasia, for today's great webinar. And I also would like to thank our audience for participation and joining our webinar today. Actually, there is one more question that was just posted. Is it possible for any documents to attach from LBN to TM? So, Anastasia, I think you were showing this.
Yes, I've already shown. So there is a possibility to send the attachment from LBN to GTT during the tendering process, during the execution process, and it's easily opening in the transportation management system, and it's possible to download and print it. So it's covered by the standard solution.
Thank you, Anastasia. Hopefully we were able to answer your question. All right. Again, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you joining us today and looking forward for your further questions and working with you if you have any necessity in implementing business network for logistics solution at your company. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.